Hi guys, welcome back to another board-based building video. My name is Amir. I'm one of the Town Hall 16's builders. Here I mainly build CWL bar and ESL bases. In today's video, I'm gonna do a live build for you guys. The base is gonna be a ESL base, and let's see how we can go off this. So first things first, whenever I'm building a base, I always like to have a small idea of what I want to do on a base, like have a general picture of the base in my head. So for this one, I want a good town hall compartment with basically not too heavy flanks. I don't want the flanks to be too heavy. So root riders can just be spammed through one flank and the other flank can get swept with the Sui, and the base is basically vulnerable after that. But I want the damage to be spread out as much as I can, basically. And let's see how we can make that happen. Let's see. Okay, so first thing first, let's see if we want to do a double poison or rage. Let's build the town hall compartment first. We have something like this. Right. Let's see. Front of the town hall. This. So, for the flanks, I want one of the newest styles of bases I've been basically really experimenting with is the 5x5s you see here are basically all around the base, on the edges of the base, and there is a big dead zones inside the key defensive compartment. So I want to those here the multis, we can work it out later on the foot. After the nerf, I anticipate having a lot of root riders and some fireball super witches. So I need to be careful about super witches and fireball bans statistically. So let's see what we can do on the flank here. Okay. Yeah, something like that for this flank. Finish this flank first, then move to the other side. I think I'm gonna go with double poison on the book, because I don't think I'm gonna have enough value if I use one rage tower in the core of it around here. I don't think I'm gonna have enough damage, enough key defenses inside the rage tower to make the rage tower valuable per se, because I want most of my key defenses with multi-archer tower ricochet cannons are on the edges of the base. Usually don't like using scatters inside the rage comp. I prefer using multis, ricochet cannons, and multi-archer towers. But you could use them. You could use scatters inside the rage comp for sure, but it's not my first choice, basically. Okay, so let's make this side unreachable. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's that. Let's do the other side. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, this side. something like that. And whenever I'm trying to build a base, basically I try to not a speed build, not that exactly, but I try to build the base itself in like 20 to 30 minutes max, then use the extra time I have to just look at the base, spend time on the details of the base, and yeah, basically that. I'd rather spend more time on the details than the actual building part of the base. And trapping, of course, but yeah. We are gonna go into details about the traps at the end of this video. Okay, so we have our flanks and the town hall compartment. One of the key things to consider whenever you are building against root riders is pathing. For example, this is the tower. I'm gonna have either a non-defensive building here, like a storage, or some walls here to make this a dead zone. So if root riders come from this flank, they path towards the outside. Even if one root rider goes inside, not all of them will follow behind. So keep that in mind. The pathing for root riders is basically everything. Let's make this single unreachable from this side. Okay, it's fine. Can do 2 here. Yeah, that's right. Something like that, because I need space behind. Oh, let's see. I'm probably gonna change that, but we'll see. Let's see. Yeah, why not? Let's keep it that way for now. I don't want the eagle to be heavily protected like more at this, because most of the time, if my eagle is, let's say, here behind the town hall, yeah, like that, people are either gonna use an overgrowth on it or just take it out really early. But when you have it on the edges of the base, always a possibility of which it depends on how the base looks itself. There is always the possibility of ending on the eagle, so you have that going for you. So for the last granite tower, I need something detached behind the eagle. Maybe something like that. Shall we do a dead zone behind this, or we make it a 4-tile comp? Let's see. Yeah, probably I'm gonna make this 4x4. I'm gonna talk a bit in more details after I'm almost done with the escalier of the base itself and explain exactly what I'm thinking and what I'm doing. But for now, I'm gonna be a bit more silent. Okay, so I don't want any 8x8 compartments here, like this or something. I don't want to camp like that on the corner of the space. I want the corners to be basically open to make it harder to funnel the sui. Yeah, then we can have a small, tiny compartment here to, because like I said at the start, I don't want my flanks to be too heavy, but at the same time, I don't want the flanks to be free. Like there's no DPS around it or inside it, so I need some a spread out DPS. If you guys know, DPS stands for damage per second, either inside the scatter comps or around the scatter comps. Okay, so what I don't like right now about this base is the multi area is way too exposed. I don't like that. And if you basically start, since I'm gonna have my eagle here, if you send king into one of these scatter comps while you're going to walk on the outside, should basically clear all of that, then you can put your siege barracks here and put the spam directly into the scatter itself, which we don't want. Then another expo here. I want it on zero because we are focusing on stopping fireball, super witches, and reach riders. Okay, this should be the general idea of the base itself. So if we land a fireball directly onto this ricochet cannon or on the smoothie archer tower, it's, if for example if we land on the ricochet cannon, it's not gonna take out this multi-archer tower and the single. Same idea on the other side. If we land on the multi-archer tower, it won't take out or the ricochet cannon. Same thing on this side. And as for the bottom side of the base, if we land in the expo, it won't take enough ulti to create a good funnel for the super witches. So we successfully limited the fireball value, you could say. At the same time, I don't want anything to path behind this eagle area as well. Same thing, if you land the fireball on the eagle, it won't take out either of the expos because it's 6 tiles away. Like the expos are placed on the sixth tile from the eagle itself. So yeah, the fireball aspect of it is fine. Now, as for the core of the base, we haven't decided with what should we do with this area. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I don't know what else I could do with it. So we're gonna just go with it for now. Let's place our walls here. Okay. Shall we? How many walls we have? 7. Okay. The walls here. We'll actually a queen on the left side, because if it's because attackers are generally right-handed, so most people go from side of the base, the 3 o'clock side of the base. So I want my queen to be on the opposite side of that. bomb towers could be nice before. Something like that. Maybe. Let's see. Now for the sweepers. Like this. Pointed, but downwards on the side. The other sweeper. The top side. I just don't. The reason I'm offsetting the sweepers a bit by like 2 tiles difference is I don't want to make it too easy for any kind of arrow coming from the 9 o'clock side of the place and the 3 o'clock side of the place. Okay, so we still have 2 bows, the air defenses, the king, and the warden. I'm probably gonna put the king, well, warden here, but we might change that soon after we finish the scatter comps. What if we make it dead zone here? So if someone super ball breaks inside the scatter, the king has the possibility of walking out. Yeah, I like that more than having buildings inside that. I'm putting the walls at 2 tiles away from the scatter so I can have a space to put down giant farms or Teslas if needed inside here, right in front of the scatter itself. So yeah, that's basically it. We still need to figure out the bow placement. Let's do the same thing here since the base is symmetrical. You know what we could do? We could even make the base asymmetrical, move like these around, but I don't want to do that. I wanted to make the dead zone behind the multi a bit bigger, so the chances of things not going behind the multi, like super riches, for example, not going directly to the core, are a bit higher, but I don't want to do that. Okay, so what else do we have? We have 2 more air defenses. We don't have any air defenses from 6 and from 3 and 9 o'clock directly in the arrow radius. Like if the arrow goes from here, it takes out the sweeper, but it won't take out any of the air defenses as well. I'm probably gonna use the defenses here on the back end, because most likely people won't go directly into the town hall. Let's put them. We have two in front of the town hall that covers basically everything. And let's do this one here as well. Okay, let's get into placements. People won't use like finger that often in ESL, okay, especially in the current time meta in the ESL. But we're gonna put the mortar here just in case to cover the scatter from the scatter flank. And the boat covers this side, the 6 o'clock side. Same thing here, over here. Multi mortar here because it's on the RC side, just because there's no reason for it. Oh yeah, keep in mind if you are using the RC, for example, let's say if you're the queen sticking to the single target, and a flame flinger targets the single, the queen can reach it if it's sticking to the single itself. But the RC, because the RC range is a bit lower, RC got less range. If I click here, if you angle the flame flinger right, you can snipe the single without the enemy RC targeting your flame flinger. So you need to speculate to put one tile just from the single to avoid the flame flinger value. Just a small tip to keep in mind. Something else I want to do is not having buildings directly on the corner at 6, 9, 3 and 12 o'clock. We're gonna get to that after we place some trash buildings down. Right. I'm gonna pick two defenses, the peaks of their defense, so you can't snipe their defense with just 2 or 3 rocket guns easily. For that, and just have some more troops in front of the more defensive buildings. But nothing forsaken here on this side. We can use the storage behind that. That. What else? What else? We have the other mortar here in between the ricochet cannon and the multi-archer tower, just to limit the flame flinger value a bit more. Actually, a bit more towards the top side, just because I have the queen there. What I could do is so we have ruled that traps in front of these corner defenses, so they don't get sniped by super brand. Symmetrical to the other side, basically exactly the same as the other side. Let's do the eagle first. Okay, now for the traps. Probably gonna have another video just talking fully about traps placement, like a full trap guide, how to trap a base, how to use each trap, like Teslas, where to use Teslas, how to use giant bombs, a spring traps, a small bombs, tornado, red air bombs, and black mines. But that's gonna be for another video. For this one, I'm just gonna do a quick trap on the base and explain a bit about what I'm doing. So as for the Teslas, which in my opinion are the most important traps for root riders right now, is Teslas and Springs. Springs are for mostly the Valkyries, but the Teslas, in my opinion, are very good for pathing. And what I mean by pathing is making sure the root riders go out of the base instead of going directly into the core of the base. So yeah, I mainly use it for that, or I use it in areas of the base where there is basically a bit less damage covering a key defense. For example, the Eagle area. You can use the Teslas around here. It won't be a great option in my opinion, but you could use it to just add a little bit more punch to the area. But I wouldn't do that if that was up to me. Since I'm mostly concerned about the super witches, especially after the huge nerfs, we can try this. Something else to keep in mind about traps is you need to test traps to make sure they are good. Like, for example, I'm placing the traps right now on the base, but after I test the base, I'm probably gonna change the trap placement 10 times to be comfortable with what I have. You said we're gonna make this side a bit heavier. Let's move to giant bombs. Let's do something like that, just to make the pathing, the funnel a bit harder. I'm not gonna go with double springs on this wizard tower or this one, but what I'm gonna do is do double springs on these corner defensive, just to make life a bit harder for super barbarians. Let's do something like that. That's gonna slow down the attacks. That's gonna slow down the attacks because the super barbs can't clear the corners with the springs. And waste basically super barbs that you might need for the back end, or just be a pain. What I would do is frozen barrel on this side, on this army camp. Four should be enough to take out the loans inside the blink itself, but you can go with 5 just to be safe if one of them got pulled out by the blimp itself. But as for the what is called black mines, you need to keep in mind, so we try to bait the blimp from the fury clock side, so from this side of the base basically. If we put any black mines here, they're gonna be most likely pulled while the dragons and loons are under the warden tome, or most of them are gonna be pulled by the blimp under the tome itself. So we're gonna go and first of all, let's move this NATO somewhere like here. So, yeah, something like that. Maybe like that. So we can take down the blimp itself a bit sooner. Then we are gonna put down the black mines on the opposite side of the base. Not the exact opposite, like going from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, but you get what I mean. We're gonna put down core. The eagle area is gonna be taken out by the Sui, so it's gonna be a huge waste if we do that. We're gonna do this instead. Actually, you know what? There is good chain value up there, so I'm gonna put just one black mine up there for a single drag or this speed drag, maybe, just hoping. That should do it. But again, if you're doing a trap on a base, putting down traps on a base, please make sure you test the traps in friendly challenges and test your entries and change them, move them around. Even if it's 1 tile, 2 tile, they can make a lot of difference, especially if you're trying to bait blimps. Play with your NATO a lot, like we have our NATO here. Maybe move it a tile down, 2 tiles up, something like that. Play around with it. Use your black mines to take down the blimp earlier before reaching the town hall, so your air bombs can take the loons out before the clones can take any major key defenses. I might put these here actually. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put those to air. Then swap out the ricochet cannons and the multi-archer towers, because this side is really weak to any air troops. So this way we can have air targeting bows covering our ricochet cannons, the air defenses, and the monolith. And on the other side, we can have our multi-archer towers covered by some Teslas. They're not gonna do much, but better than nothing, I guess. So yeah, that's basically it. That's the skilly of the base and the defense placements. Okay, so he tried to go for a fireball around here, outside the scatter comp to clear the corner and just use a jump or a super wall breaker on this multi, then connect the jump to the town hall. He clearly missed, I think he clearly missed the fireball here because he didn't get the ricochet cannon. He missed the earthquake. Then as the follow-up, he uses the same approach as I mentioned, going through the multi, then jumping towards the town hall. But the problem with that is the flank, the scatter, is still up, so he needs to clear that. The single, basically the top side, this base is really top side heavy, like on the 9 o'clock and the 3 o'clock side is really heavy. So, and he didn't clear any of that, so he's stuck in the core. The queen here just dies through the ability, through the defensive queen and the ricochet cannon. And as I said here, because the flank isn't clear, he doesn't have a clear pathing into the town hall, so troops split between the single and the down below scatter, and there is just simply no way to power through that back end with that setup. The RC finds some skellies. There's a druid on her, so she can power through a bit, but she's gonna get locked on by this monolith, I think. Yeah, she's gonna get locked on to by the mono. And as you can see, there's a lot of base left on the left hand side from 12 to 9 o'clock. That's basically it. We're gonna do some small tweaks as well, maybe if needed, based on what we saw during the attacks, and see how the base performs. Okay, so as we talked about, the scatter comps, specifically on the live build itself, we designed the scatter comps like right in front of the scatters. There's two separated walls that basically creates a dead zone that king or queen basically won't get pulled into the scatter without a solid funnel so easily. So this is the same exact thing in action, basically. Seeing the queen walk in a second, he'll use a jump, which is a better way to get your queen inside a base if a compartment is super wall breakable. But he could have done it, but he chose to use the jump instead. But as you saw here, the queen went for the storage. After taking out the storage, she switched target to the multi. Then after that, she got pulled to the other storage and the ice golems in the CC, which resulted in the queen going for back for the bomb tower, then redirecting directly into the core of the base, which got the healers killed. She needs to adjust, send the RC with the rocket spear to take out the scatter before the scatter killing the queen. So he's gonna improvise and start the Lalo at the bottom of the base with just the slammer and some loons, then use the warden with the main push up the Lalo up top. But as you can see, it clearly failed miserably. He just gave up at the end with the spells. He didn't even invest in them. Alright, so after what we just saw from the defenses, I already did changed a few traps, like for example the Teslas up here. They were on the flanks, 2 on each side, here and here. But after seeing the attacks, I don't think the Teslas are gonna do much on the flanks like we used them before. So I basically swapped them out and used them on the back end to basically stop RC or super witches. But the main thing to consider is the main idea behind the base is defending super witches, not giving too much value for fireballs, and we are doing that right now. Like for example, the main places to fireball for an average attacker is the ricochet cannon, or if they want to get fancy with it and use invisibility spells on the wizard tower here, the AD and the cannon and the mortar, they can do that, then land the fireball on the multi-archer tower, then enter into the single and wrap around the base basically. But if you're playing against more advanced attackers, the only place, in my opinion, that you should worry about fireballs is on these 2 huts right in front of the town hall behind the multi-archer towers. And the reason for that is if the attacker decides to use an invisibility on these 3 buildings and these 2, they can simply drop a warden here and do an instant fireball from an angle on the right side of the storage. Land here, do a double earthquake, get the multi-archer tower, the builder hut, the bow, and create a really solid funnel. That's basically the most value you can get from a fireball on the base without investing like 4 or 5 invisibility spells. What you could do, actually, I was thinking of that, is baiting it. But you might ask how we can do that. we can do it like this. We are gonna swap this builder hut with a non-defensive hut, which is the Bob's hut. Then after we do that, we can just remove these Teslas from the left side and bait the other side like that. And the reason I have, if you guys don't have the Bob's hut, don't worry about it, just place it as is, and we are probably gonna have an empty space here. Just pull this electric collector one tile back to close that gap in front of the monolith. One of the things most people do before dropping the fireball is testing for traps. Now with what we have done here is, if the attacker drops one barbarian here in front of the storage to test for Teslas, then drop the fireball, what happens is most people do that, and when the base is symmetrical, they just instead of dropping the warden into the damage, they just go from here, drop one more barb here to test for any additional Teslas, then go from here and do the same thing. But the problem is, if they decide to test this side and there is no there is a Tesla farm there, there's 4 Teslas there to kill the warden or force the fireball early, they can't go here. I mean, they can go here, but the value they get is not the same. Probably because they can't get the spell tower, they won't get the warden tower, they won't get the king pad and things like that inside the base, creating that great funnel for the super riches. So that's really important. So yeah, if you watch some esports, you've seen that people just test this area, there's a Tesla farm, but because the base is symmetrical, they just go from the other side here and do the same fireball without having to deal with the Tesla farm on your warden. So because we have this small portion of the base isn't symmetrical, most people are gonna see that and just walk past it basically and not think much of it. But against good players, like better advanced attackers, they are gonna choose this side to fireball, most likely. Then you can just bait that like we did, and then you're gonna use the last Tesla here, why not? Then one more thing I noticed in the attacks are the NATO is basically useless. So I'm gonna put the queen on the right side as well, because most attackers are right-handed and attack from the 3 o'clock side more often than not. As I explained before, for flame flinger value purposes, always put your royal champion one tile further than defense you want to protect. For the queen, you can stick the queen pad to the defensive building you want to protect. If the flame flinger is coming at it directly, like from here up top, the queen can target the flinger. But the RC, if the RC is closed, like sticking to the single, you can't defend the flinger if it's a good angle. What we're gonna do is take this off, put the NATO here, put 4 apps here, or we could drop it like behind the single, but it's more risky to not work. Then what should we do? I'm gonna pick this off. Good. One of the other things I saw was super archers into this area basically. So what I'm gonna do is basically I'm not gonna focus on it that much, but just trying to bait it a bit. But yeah, that's it basically. I'm gonna keep the traps in the core. And yeah, that's basically what I'm going to do to wrap this episode up. I hope you guys enjoyed the base. The link of the base is gonna be in the description. If you guys have any question regarding base building at Town Hall 16, feel free to send me a DM or just comment down below, ask it, and I'll be happy to help you guys out. I hope the base defends well for you guys. And one more thing, the base is for ESL hard mode, but I'm sure you guys can use it in Wars and CWL as well. I wouldn't recommend using it in Legends, and if you do, don't run it anywhere higher than mid-high range of Legend League. But that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Good night, good afternoon, whatever time zone you guys live in, and enjoy the rest of your day. Good night.